ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो। Hello everyone, we are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and last time we discussed how when all the uh, kings and Yadus they left Kurukshetra, all the Kuru kings also left Kurukshetra, but Nanda Maharaj he stayed in Kurukshetra because Krishna was also there, Krishna and Balram were there. So Nanda Maharaj wanted to take more association, and therefore he stayed for 3 more months there. And then after great difficulty, they departed. And Shukdev Goswami then continues the story in the 85th chapter, which is entitled Lord Krishna instructs Vasudev and retrieves Devaki's sons. So Vasudev, he had a Vatsalya bhav towards Krishna. He had paternal feelings towards Krishna, but that Vatsalya bhav was mixed with the knowledge of the Aishwarya. And on top of that, he heard from all the sages about the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. Oh, Krishna is that Supreme Lord who is the creator, maintainer. He heard so many things from the sages. And that's how his respect for the Lord's power, it was stimulated by the words of the sages. So therefore, even though when they returned back to Dwarka, Vasudeva was still remembering the conversation of the sages, and those conversations were filled with the knowledge of the supremacy of the Lord. So one day, as Krishna and Balram they came to meet Vasudeva, and they offered their respects, bowed down in front of him, offered their respects, and Vasudeva he greeted them. And because he had heard so many things from the sages, so Vasudeva he was convinced that, oh, these are not ordinary children, these are not ordinary people, they are not my sons. Of course, they have appeared as my sons, but they are the Supreme Lord themselves. So therefore, addressing them by their names, now Vasudeva is speaking to Krishna and Balram. Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Sankarshana Sanatana Jane Vam Yasya Yat Sakshat Pradhana Purushau Parau. O Krishna, Krishna Mahayogi, you are the master of all the mystics, you are the best of the yogis. O Sankarshan, you are the eternal personality. Jane Vam, I know that you too are personally the supreme personalities. You are the Purushao Parao, uh, you are the supreme persons who are the source of entire universal creation. And therefore they are focusing, therefore Vasudeva is now focusing on the supremacy of the Lord. He's telling you are that supreme Lord who is manifesting this material creation and the source of the creation also. That means Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu is coming from the Supreme Lord. You know, Krishna expands as Balram, and then from Balram Chaturvyuha comes Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And then from Sankarshan, another Chaturvyuha comes, and from The Vasudeva of that Chaturvyuha, Mahavishnu appears. Mahavishnu expands as Mahavishnu creates this entire universe and then expands and enters as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So Vasudeva is telling that you are the source of the creation also, and you are the source of the creator of the creation also. So therefore, everything is actually coming from you. So you are actually this universe because this universe is created by you, O my Lord. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that in this world, whenever any object exists, a pot or a cloth or whatever is existing in this world, whatever object is given, whatever is produced, everything is belonging to the Supreme Lord. So therefore, Vasudeva is telling, oh my Lord, you created this universe and then you entered into it. Therefore, you are the super soul. You are the super soul of the entire creation, and therefore you are maintaining this entire creation. So therefore, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is a super soul of the universe. Brahmaji is the soul of the universe. And Hiranyagarbha means the aggregate of all the living entities. They comprise the subtle body of the universe, and the Virat Rupa, the 14 planetary systems, they are the gross body of the universe. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the super soul of the universe. Just like in every body, we have our gross body, we have our subtle body, we have Atma, and then we have Paramatma. Similarly, in this universe, there is a Paramatma, there is Atma, there is gross body, and there is subtle body. So therefore, Vasudeva is telling you are the super soul of the entire universe. And therefore, actually no material body can survive if the soul is not there. When the soul leaves the body, the material body also starts deteriorating. Similarly, this universe cannot exist if you are not there in the universe. If the super soul is not there, then the universe will not survive. So that's what he's telling. So as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, you are entering as Paramatma, and therefore this entire universe is manifesting. But Lord may say that actually the Pran and the Jiva, they are the maintainers of the universe, not me. So Vasudeva answers, actually all the elements, all the 24 elements of creation, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, everything is coming from you, oh my Lord. Everything is existing because of you. Everything is set into motion by you, oh my Lord. So therefore, everything is depending on you. Even Pran is depending on you. So everything, whatever we see, we have heard in the second canto and the third canto, that all the elements, they are coming from the Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu, from his body, this Prakriti is coming, Dravya is coming, and in that Dravya, the four things are impregnated: Jiva, Kal, Karma, and Swabhava. Just a minute. So all the energies, all the elements, they are coming from the Supreme Lord. So therefore, he is describing the powers of the Lord in 5 verses. He is telling all the luminaries, their effulgence, they are coming from you. The fragrance of the earth is coming from you. As Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Punyo Gandha Prithivyam Cha Tejaschasmi Vibhavaso. Punyo Gandha Prithivyam Cha. Sorry, there is some disturbance going on. Ganpati is festival is there, so some noise is coming. So he's telling, you are the source of all the luminaries. You are the source of the fragrance of this earth. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham aditya tejo jagadbhashayate kilam yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamatam. From me, the sun is getting the light. Sun is getting the energy. So therefore, Vasudev, he starts addressing the Lord by the word Bhavan. Bhavan is a very respectful address. That means आप, हिंदी में आप इस सृष्टि के पालन करता है, सृजन करता है. But then as he's speaking, his Vatsalya bhav comes up, and he, in the subsequent verses, he starts telling Twam. Twam means in Hindi you say tum. But then again he realizes, oh, I am speaking to the Supreme Lord. Again he changes to Bhavan. So that is a mood of Vasudev. Although he has Vatsalya towards the Supreme Lord, but that Vatsalya is mixed with the Aishwarya of the Lord. And he says, oh my Lord, how much more can we say? Actually, you are everything of this entire creation. You are the taste of water. All the verses which Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi shurayo. So they is telling, you are the taste of the water, and you are exhibiting all the potencies in the air. In the air, by the air you experience warmth, vitality. Everything is coming from you, oh my Lord. You are the directions. You are the directions and their accommodating capacity. You are the ether, and you are the source of sound which is generated from the ether. You are the first syllable Om. You are the audible speech. Everything is coming from you. So the speech has 4 parts. So the 3 parts of the speech, when the speech is generated, the 3 parts are subtle. They are not heard. But when the sound manifests, then it's called Vaikari. So the manifested speech is called, he's telling that you are that manifest speech. You are the power of the senses. You are the power of the devatas, of the predominating sense of the senses. And you are the sanction. These devatas, they cannot do anything if you don't give sanction. So Krishna is the supreme sanctioning authority of the universe. So Vasudeva is, realizing all this. He says, you are that false ego in the mode of ignorance. In the second canto, we discussed in great detail that how from tamasic ahankar, from this pradhan, mahattattva comes. Mahattattva is predominantly in the mode of goodness. That is called sutra tattva. Then ultimately gets transformed into the mode of passion and then into the ignorance. So mahattattva in the mode of ignorance is called ahankar. So then this ahankar further gets differentiated in the mode of passion. It creates all the elements, and that is called tamasic ahankar. Tamasic ahankar is a source of 5 elements. Rajasic ahankar is the source of all the senses and mind and pran, and sattvic ahankar is a source of mind and 10 sense devatas. So Vasudeva is telling, actually you are the source of Rajasic ahankar, Tamasic ahankar, Sattvic ahankar. Everything is coming from you only, oh my Lord. So therefore he's telling that you are that unmanifested pradhan. So the primary element is pradhan, which gets transformed into mahattattva. So Vasudeva is telling, you are that pradhan. So Lord may tell, okay, if you are telling that I am pradhan, so pradhan also gets transformed, right? So do I also undergo transformation? Do I also change? Vasudeva is telling, no, 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 you are not. You are the supreme, unchangeable entity. You are indestructible. You are the supreme Lord, which never changes. All the modes they manifest within you, O my Lord. And therefore, whatever entities are there, they are your transformations. As Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, Maya tatavinam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham teshavasthitah. From me, everything is coming. Maya tatamidam sarvam. Although everything is coming from me, but I am not in them. That is a supreme, inconceivable potency of Krishna. Although Krishna is in everything, but still he is not in any of these material things. So Vasudeva is glorifying Krishna by all this. And then Vasudeva, after praying all this, he starts showing compassion for all the living entities who are not accepting Krishna's devotional service. He's telling, oh my Lord, the ignorant cannot understand you. Those people who are ignorant of your supremacy, they cannot understand you, and therefore they keep wandering in this cycle of birth and death. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have got such a wonderful opportunity to understand that life is not just meant for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Prabhupada has given us such complex philosophy in such a simple way. Yesterday one devotee was telling me, and I was really amazed to hear that. So this devotee, he gave one of the PhD scholars, Sanskrit PhD, double PhD he was. So he gave 5 chapters of Bhagavatam, 3 chapters of fifth canto, 1 chapter of the first canto, 1 chapter of the second canto. And he gave all the Acharya's commentaries, and he told that you please translate that into English, Sanskrit to English. So this person, he told, no, Prabhuji, actually, I'll connect you to some other person and he will do it for you. So this devotee was not understanding why this person is refusing. So, and he was trying to convince him that, no, please do it. But he was saying, no, Prabhuji, I will, tell you another contact and he will do it for you. But after asking for many times, he said, actually, Prabhuji, I do translation for all the universities and we charge $1,000 for 1 hour. So this devotee asked, okay, so what do you think, how much time it will take for you to translate these 5 chapters? He said 200 hours. That means 1.5 crores. And I was just amazed and surprised what Srila Prabhupada has given us. He has given us all the translations, he has read all the commentaries, and he has given us the distilled essence of all the commentaries in a way which we can digest. And we are not understanding the importance many times. What Srila Prabhupada has given us, it is unimaginable. He has given us the priceless treasure. All the 12 cantos of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is an unimaginable thing. Most of the times you don't realize what we are getting. So therefore we try to, look at for some other things. Okay, this is too much. Prabhupada has given us too much, but Prabhupada, whatever he has given us, that is a priceless treasure. And if we don't take advantage of this, if we don't become serious, then as Vasudeva is telling, ignorant cannot cross this ocean of ignorance, ocean of material world. So we have to become philosophically convinced. We have to have that firm conviction by reading purports of Prabhupada by reading the philosophy of Bhagavatam. Because if we are not convinced, then we will be fearful of every small thing in this world. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshita syad ishadapi tasya viparyaya asmriti. When we forget Krishna, then we become fearful. So Vasudeva is telling what is the value of human life? Yadrichaya nritam prapya sukalpamiha durlabham swarte pramattasya vayogatam tam mayayeshwarah. Yadrichaya, by some good fortune, a good soul gets a human form of life. Sukalpam. Sukalpa means this human form is very perfectly made. Although it is durlabha, it is very, very rare. Very rare. Labdhva sudurlabhamidam bahu sambhavante manusyam arthadam anityam apiha dhiraha turnam yatet natupate nanumrityu vavan nishreyasaya vishaya khalu sarvatasya. Sense gratification is available in all the species of life. If somebody is not taking advantage of this human form, then he is actually wasting his time in this world. Paya manushya janma jena shune gauragun hena janma tara vyartha hoila. Paya mrita dhuni piye vishya garta pani janmiya se kene nahi maila. Oh, Kaviraj Goswami is telling, why did you take birth if you are not hearing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It is waste. Your life is waste. Bhagavatam says if you are not hearing the glories of Krishna, your holes are like the holes where snakes live. If you are not speaking the glories of Krishna, your tongue is like the tongue of a frog. Vilebatoru kramavikramanye na shrinvati karnapute narasya jihva satidar durikeva suta nachopagayat yurugaya gatha. So therefore, Vasudeva is telling, oh, if somebody has got this human form, which is so very rare, it has to be dedicated. Swarthe pramattasya vayo. It has to be dedicated for the perfect cause. And what is that? To serve Krishna, to practice devotional service. So therefore, he's telling, oh my Lord, you are keeping this world bound up by the ropes of affection. You have spread your Maya potency in such a way that people, they are thinking in terms of me and mine. This is my body, this is my wife, this is my children, this is my property, these are my relatives. The whole world is running for that. This is my body and things which are related are mine. And Vasudeva and Devaki, they are thinking themselves like this person out of humility. Vasudeva is thinking, I am that person. You all have come as my sons, but you are not our sons. You are the Supreme Lord. But because of my foolish intelligence, my material intelligence, I thought I am thinking you as my son. We are a proof of that personality who is bound in this material world. Although you are Supreme Lord, we are thinking you as our son. So actually, this is the humility of Vasudeva and Devaki. They are the supreme devotees who are in Vatsalya Bhav, but out of their humility, they are thinking like this. So therefore, Vasudeva is telling, Tatte gato smaranam adya padara vindam apanya samsriti bhaya pahamartha bandho etavatalam alam indriyalala sena martyatma driktvai pare yadapatya buddhihi. So Vasudeva is telling, Tatte gato asmi aranam. Now I approach you, O my Lord, I approach your lotus feet for shelter. Adya padar vindam. Adya means today I take shelter of your lotus feet. What is the purpose? Why are you taking shelter of my lotus feet? Apanna samsriti bhayapahamartha bandho. Oh my Lord, you are the friend of a distressed person. And by taking shelter of your lotus feet only, we can cross this apanna samsriti bhaya. Fear of material existence will be destroyed only if we take your shelter. Enough is alam. Enough of this indriya lalasa. Vasudeva is telling out of his humility. Enough of the sense gratification. Enough of this hankering for sense gratification. Alam indriya lalasena. Because if somebody has desire for sense enjoyment, he gets entangled with this body. So Krishna, after when he hears this, he may think that if I am the Supreme Lord and I have become your son and you are loving me, then how you are entangled? You are telling that we are entangled in this material world. So they tell, so my Lord, when you took birth in the maternity room, you yourself told us that you are the Supreme Lord, and you have appeared previously also many times, and you told that we have taken birth earlier also as Sutapa and Prishni, Kashyapa, Aditi. That means we were bound previously also, therefore we had to take birth again and again, therefore we are calling ourselves entangled. So in this way Vasudeva is speaking. So Shukdev Goswami, he tells that when Krishna, he heard all these prayers, he bowed down his head in humility. He smiled. He smiled at the glorious position of Vasudeva. Krishna is thinking that, oh, this Vasudeva, he is my eternal father. And I don't like him to speak like this. He has achieved a position which even Brahma, even Shiva, all the Devatas cannot aspire for. But now because he had heard so many things from the sages, he has started thinking, considering me as a Supreme Lord. Oh, I cannot see this. It is really embarrassing. So therefore, to avoid this situation, he's thinking that actually when Kamsa took when I took birth, that time also Devaki and Vasudev, they became full of this awe and reverence. And that time I covered them by my Yogmaya potency, and now again this situation has come up. So again now Krishna, he imparts knowledge. He speaks such sweet words so that Vasudeva and Devaki, they can again be reinstated in their Vatsalya Bhav. So he's telling that, oh my father, I consider that your statements are very appropriate. Because he's speaking something very interesting. Aham yuyam asavarya imecha dwarakaukasah sarvayapyevam yadu sreshta vimrigyasa characharam. So Krishna is speaking the philosophy of oneness. Krishna, when Krishna wants to evoke some bhav, vatsalya bhav, Krishna may take shelter of any of the philosophy. We have heard in the Govardhan Leela, when Krishna wanted Brajvasis, Nanda Maharaj to worship Govardhan, he started speaking Karma Mimamsa philosophy. Oh, what is this Indra? What he will do? After all, everybody is getting the reactions of his own karma. So why we should worship Indra? We should worship Govardhan. Although Krishna does not mean it, but still he is speaking that philosophy. And now also Krishna starts speaking at everything is one. Actually, both you and myself, we are the same. We are belonging to the same. Sorry, we are belonging to the same material creation. So therefore, not only he's telling, not only you, but not only I, but also you and all these residents of Dwarka, they should be considered in the same philosophical light. Everybody is the Brahman. So he's trying to just make them forget that I am the supreme Brahman. He's saying everybody is Brahman. So Krishna is trying to protect the Vatsalya Bhav of Vasudeva. And therefore, he's telling actually the spirit is eternal and devoid of any change, and everything is happening in this material world because of three modes of material nature. Under the influence of the material nature, all the elements they become visible and then invisible, they manifest and unmanifest. In this way he started speaking so many ways, so many words to pacify Vasudeva. And Vasudeva, he actually became pacified hearing all these words from Krishna. And then after this, Devaki came, and Devaki, she started offering, her prayers. So Devaki, she started glorifying the Lord because she was also there hearing all the sages. She also understood that my son is not an ordinary personality, he's the Supreme Lord himself. She knew already, but now she actually, her memory was revived back. So therefore she came, and she had heard that, oh, my sons, they brought the son of their spiritual master back. So she also came with this expectation, her eyes full of tears. So Devaki, she is telling, Rama Rama Prameyatman Krishna Yogeshwareshwaraha Vedaham Vam Visvasrajam Ishwaravadi Purushav. O Ram, O Krishna, O Ram, Aprameyatman, O immeasurable Supreme Lord, Krishna Yogeshwareshwara, you are the master of all the mystics. Vedaham Vam Visvasrajam, I know that you are the master of this entire creation. You are creating this entire universe. You have descended in this world to establish the principles of dharma, to protect the innocent, to destroy the miscreants. You are the source of creation, maintenance, and destruction of this entire universe. Therefore, I have come to take shelter of you. And then she says, I have heard that you brought the sons of Sandipani Muni back to life. You went to Yamalok and you brought their son back. So please bring my sons also back in the same way. I'm eager to have their association, because my 6 sons, they were killed by Kamsa mercilessly before you were born. Every year Kamsa would come and mercilessly kill all my sons. I want you to bring them back to life. So when Devaki, she pleaded in this way, Krishna and Balram immediately, they stood up, eager to follow the instructions of mother, wanted to please them. Please, mother. So they entered Sutal. Sutal is a place where Bali Maharaj is still living. And Bali Maharaj, when he saw that the Supreme Lord has come personally, he became ecstatic. He became full of joy. He stood up and he came with all the paraphernalia of worship. He came with this entire entourage. He didn't come alone. So Jiva Goswami tells that Bali, he always had the desire to see the Supreme Lord Krishna, because he knew that, oh, Krishna, Supreme Lord, has appeared now in the form of Krishna and Balram, and he always wanted to have their darshan. And because of that desire, Krishna, he came there. So, we may have some desires to get some, thing in life, some spiritual desires. We want to serve Krishna in a certain way. If we just continue harboring those desires, praying to Krishna, for sure, one day Krishna will reciprocate. So Krishna for sure will respond to our prayers, respond to our desires, but till that time we have to be patient. That is called dhairya. So Bali Maharaj, he had the desire, I want to have darshan of the Supreme Lord. So therefore he was so very happy when his desires got fulfilled. It is said that we had heard in the 12th canto, Markandeya Muni, he wanted to have the darshan of the Maya Shakti of the Lord. So Lord said, okay, tathastu. And then for a long time, nothing happened. So Markandeya Muni was not, doubting, Array, what happened? Lord came and gave benediction, but nothing is coming. So if we have come to the process of Krishna consciousness, for sure our heart will get purified. For sure we will have the experience of Krishna. As Bhagavatam says, that just like when somebody is eating food, three things happen. Tushti, Pushti, Kshut, Apayo, Anughasam. Similarly, when somebody is practicing Krishna consciousness, one has to experience Krishna. One has to become detached from the material world. It will happen for sure. Bhakti Paresha Anubhavo Virakti Anyatra Chaisha Trika Eka Kalah Prapadyamanasya Yatha Ashnatasyu Tushti Pushti Kshutapayo Anughasam. It has to happen. We have to just be patient. So Bali Maharaj, as soon as he saw, he brought all the paraphernalia for the worship, and he started worshipping him, offered nice clothing, ornaments, sandalwood paste, wonderful arati, and made Supreme Lord sit on a nice elevated seat. And as we know, Bali Maharaj is a symptom of Atma Nivedanam, is a symbol of Atma Nivedanam. Similarly, when Lord came, he offered all his wealth. He offered himself in the service of the Supreme Lord. So that's how this Bali Maharaj, his devotion, his feelings were still the same. So he's telling, oh my Lord, I am surrendering my life, I am surrendering my entire wealth to you. So Hridayanand Maharaj writes in the purport that if one tries to impress the Lord with the wealth, intelligence, power, the Lord is not impressed by all these things. Lord is impressed by sincere devotion. And Bali Maharaj, although he had all this wealth, prestige, power, that was not pleasing to the Lord. Lord was pleased because of his humble devotion. And Bali Maharaj, and in the 8th canto, Lord Vamandev personally tells, Janma karma vayo rupa vidya aishwarya dhanadibhi yadi yasya na bhavet stambha tatrayam madangrahat. If somebody has high birth, beautiful body, very knowledgeable person, every opulence of this world, but still, if he is humble, that attracts the mercy of the Lord. So that is how we have to be very, very careful that Lord is not attracted by anything external. So Bali Maharaj, he was holding the feet of the Lord again and again, and he's very overwhelmed with devotion. All the feelings of ecstasy are manifesting. He's crying tears of ecstasy, his limbs are trembling, and his hairs are standing on end. He's completely overwhelmed with devotion. He says, for my obeisances unto you, O my Lord, that unlimited Supreme Lord, who is the creator of the entire universe. From you appear Brahman and Paramatma. You are the source of that. You are the Supreme Lord. Who are we? I am born in a family of demons. Even great yogis are not able to have your darshan. But because you are so merciful that you are giving me your darshan, I am so very fallen, but still I am getting a chance to have your darshan. How amazing is it? Only by the mercy of the Lord it is happening. Because we are in the mode of passion and ignorance, we are completely, covered by these modes. And then he says, actually, but still, we have become more fortunate than even devatas who are in Sattvagun. Because in heavenly planets, there is so much of happiness. They cannot take shelter of you. Kim dushkaraina kratube tapovratai danadivirva dvijayena falguna na yatra narayana pada pankaja smriti pramushtati shaindriya utsavat. So devtas, they are telling, oh my Lord, we have done so much of the tapasya, dan, vrata, and we have attained this heaven. But the problem is we cannot practice bhakti here because there is so much of sense gratification available. So therefore, Bali Maharaj is telling, oh, although we are so very fallen, we are covered by the modes of passion and ignorance, but you have mercifully delivered us. Many of the demons, Siddhas, Charanas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, they are delivered by your mercy. Some people, although they were having such exceptional hatred for you, they were also delivered. Some were lusty for you, they were also delivered. That is your mercy, O my Lord. Lord may say, Are you are my greatest devotee. Why are you speaking like this? So Bali Maharaj says, No, my Lord. I am such a sinful demon. I am born in a family of Hiranyakashipu. And many of my descendants are also creating trouble for you. Banasur and all the other people. So we are so very fallen. Only by your mercy you are allowing me to be with your be in your association. Therefore, O my Lord, what to speak of you, even great mystics do not know you. Tanna prasada nirapeksh mimrigya yushmat पादारविन्दधिशनाय गृहान्दकूपात् निष्क्रम्य विश्वशरणाङ्ग्र लब्धवृत्ति शान्तो यथैक उत सर्वशखचरामि. Therefore, he's telling, Oh my Lord, please be merciful towards me. Now he's asking for a benediction. Please be merciful towards me. Take me out of this deep, dark well of family life. Riyamanda Kupam. Only you can do it, O my Lord. Otherwise, there is no hope for me. And therefore, he's telling, please tell us, O my Lord, what can I do for you? Please free me of all the sins. And please tell me, what can I do for you? So Krishna, when he heard this, he's telling that, O Bali Maharaj, during the first age, first Manu, Marichi, the sage Marichi, who was a son of Brahma, he had 6 sons by his wife Urna. So we know the story that one day Brahmaji, he got attracted by his own daughter and he wanted to enjoy with his own daughter. So these 6 sons of Marichi, they started laughing at this behavior of Brahmaji. But because of this sinful act, they were punished, they were cursed, and they had to take birth as the sons of Hiranyakashipu. And then later they were transferred to the womb of Devaki. So actually, after they became the sons of Hiranyakashipu, they had to take one more birth where they became the sons of Kalanemi. And Kalanemi became Kamsa. And the 6 sons, they were born as the sons of Devaki. So Hiranyakashipu, he gave curse to Kalanemi, to the sons of Kalanemi, that you will be killed by your own father. So therefore, these 6 sons, they took birth as the sons of Devaki, and therefore, Krishna is telling, we have come here to dispel the sorrow of our mother. because our mother, she still has such affection for her sons. So we have come here to release them from the curse so that they can go back to the heavenly planets. So they are telling that, the six sons of Marichi, Smara, Udgita, Parishwanga, Patanga, Shudrabhrit, and Ghriti, they are all they took birth as the sons of Devaki, and now they were killed by Kamsa, and they are staying with you in Sutala Loka. So therefore, Krishna Balram, when they asked this, Bali Maharaj very nicely worshipped Krishna and Balram and presented these six sons. And Krishna and Balram, they took these six sons and they returned back. When Devaki, he saw her six sons returning back, she felt so very ecstatic that although now Devaki was very elderly lady, he had son Krishna and Balram. Krishna and Balram had sons, and their sons were also there. But Devaki had such Vatsalya Bhav that milk spontaneously started flowing from her breasts, and she started embracing and smelling all the sons' heads, and she felt such intense happiness. And then she made them drink their milk, drink her milk. That milk, which was the remnant of Krishna, because Krishna, when he was born, Devaki fed him. So therefore, actually, these six sons, they were getting Mahaprasad of Krishna. And that became the source of their liberation. That is the cause of their liberation, because they got the Mahaprasad. Because that was the remnant of Krishna. So therefore, they became free from the curse of the sages, and then they awakened they came to their original forms. They bowed down to the Supreme Lord, bowed down to Devaki, and then they returned back to heavenly planets. Devaki, when she saw, she was completely amazed. She was struck with wonder that her sons, they came and then they got transformed into heavenly people, and then they went back to the celestial planets. So that is a beautiful, description of this pastime. And Shukdev Goswami ends this chapter by telling that this pastime destroys the sins of the years. Whatever, sin is there accumulated in the year because of our millions of lifetimes of sinful activities, it gets completely destroyed. And this pastime acts as the ornaments of the ears of Vaishnavas. And anyone who narrates this pastime, hears this pastime, he will have his mind fixed in devotion unto the Supreme Lord. So that's how that is the importance of Krishna Katha. That is the importance of hearing the pastimes of the Lord every day. It is not so easy. To every day dedicate the time to hear Krishna Katha. It is not so easy. And therefore, it requires a great amount of commitment. Many times it feels, oh, it is so boring, so much philosophy, but still, if you continue hearing, all the contamination in the accumulated in the ears gets destroyed. Kukatha, whatever Kukatha we have heard, it will be destroyed. And we will achieve the pure, unalloyed devotion into the Supreme Lord. So that is the end of this chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah, so the question is, there is a question. Yes, so this Hiranyakashipu is the same Hiranyakashipu, the father of Prahlad Maharaj. So they were born as the sons of Hiranyakashipu, and then they were born as the sons of Kalanini, and then they were cursed, and then they took birth as the sons of Devaki. So this is the end of this chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.